All right, so with me here today is the watch that I believe is the greatest Casio of all time, and that is the Casio GWM5610. So let's talk about this watch. So yeah, as I said a second ago, I personally think that the Casio G-Shock GWM5610 is the greatest Casio of all time. Now that might sound like a pretty hot take, especially with legends out there like the F-91W and the classic 5600 series of G-Shocks, but I think in this video I can hopefully make a good argument for why this is the greatest Casio of all time. So let's just start with the basics here. The Casio G-Shock GWM5610 is essentially everything you love about your standard Casio G-Shock 5600. The same dimensions that I think are extremely wearable for really any wrist out there, and the same sort of level of toughness that we would all come to expect, right? 200 meters of water resistance, extreme shock resistance, everything is amazing about it, right? You have some of the same features with regard to a stopwatch, a world time, a second time zone, all those different things. But there's a couple extra elements that I think really elevate this watch into really the GOAT status of Casios. And some of those features that really make this watch special, that add extra value to it, are the tough solar component and the multiband 6 component. So to tackle those each at a time here, the tough solar part of this watch basically means that it is solar powered and you don't need to ever change the battery. And the multiband 6 means this watch syncs up with radio waves, essentially is a basic way of explaining it. And this watch is essentially on the exact time as the atomic clock. It's the same way that your smartphone keeps exact time. Those two features alone, in my opinion, make this watch just so incredible. You basically have to do zero maintenance to this watch. You never have to change a battery. You basically never have to change the time. It's just incredible how efficient and how amazing this watch is. I've had mine for about 5 or 6 years now, and I've done nothing to it in terms of maintenance, in terms of having to repair it. It's just absolutely a machine. It's always accurate. And like I said, it's just the ultimate value-packed Casio. And I think that's the other part of this. This Casio G-Shock is $100. Now, it's of course more than your standard 5600 that's going to cost you about $50, but $100 for this value, I keep saying that word value, but there's so much to it. And for $100, I think that's such an amazing steal. And let's face it, Casio G-Shock models are going up in price. A lot of the newer models with some newer features, which I personally deem not necessary, are starting at $150, $200, $250. A lot of these new features are Bluetooth connectivity, new screens, but again, I don't think that they're necessary. And if you're just looking for something that has no frills and is just an absolute machine that you can count on every single day, again, with basically zero maintenance, this is the watch. And for $100, that's absolutely crazy to me. I know we live in a smartwatch society where basically everyone wants to have the same functionality as their smartphone on their wrist. And yes, a lot of those smartwatches are truly incredible and really special, but there's something really cool, in my opinion, about having something just so reliable and kind of counterintuitive to the modern day smartwatch, something you don't have to charge every night, something that is more off the grid, something that's not connected to your phone, it's not receiving text messages, and it's just able to handle anything. I think a G-Shock in itself, regardless of the model, is the exact type of watch that can handle any situation. And to have this particular model, again, with the value that it has, with the features that it has, I think it really is probably one of the best deals in all of watchmaking. Now, I know G-Shocks can't do everything. Generally speaking, you probably wouldn't want to wear this to a fancy event. It doesn't dress up well at all. I think we all know that. But for 99% of things in life, I think this is really such an outstanding watch and perfect for almost any occasion. I tend to have a little bit of a weird style of collecting watches. I love go anywhere, do anything watches. I think a lot of people like to have one or two of those watches in their collection, but I tend to collect only Gata watches for whatever reason. I just like the sort of security of knowing that my watch can handle anything and that pretty much any of the watches I pick up are capable of whatever the day brings. And this Casio G-Shock GWM5610 feels right at home in my collection. Like I said, it's my go-to watch for pretty much anything. When I go to the gym, when I go on walks, when there's something important I need to do and I need to rely on the exact time, this is the watch I take. I don't take my Rolex, I don't take my Omega, I take this. And I think that really does mean a lot to me to have that level of reliability in my collection. And let's face it, who doesn't love a Casio G-Shock and who doesn't love that classic look with the red ring around the bezel? It's just an outstanding look. It's such a classic look. And this watch, in my opinion, is the perfect mix of the Casio G-Shock classic look with a little bit more of that modern technology. But again, not overdoing it, as I mentioned before, with text messages and Bluetooth, but that perfect middle ground of technology and classic Casio style. And there are some amazing Casios to consider when talking about the greatest Casio of all time. Of course, the F-91W comes to mind. That is pretty much the quintessential Casio. The classic G-Shock 5600 comes to mind. Everyone loves the calculator Casio. Again, there are some great options, and those all are very robust watches with some great functionality. But that being said, I really do think that the GWM5610 is the perfect combination of modern technology and classic Casio charm. So for that reason and for the value that it provides, I really do think that the GWM5610 is the greatest Casio of all time. That being said, I know this might sound like a controversial video or a controversial opinion that I have here today, so please let me know in the comment section down below what you personally think is the greatest Casio of all time. If you could have just one Casio, what would it be? I'm very, very curious what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. I know there's probably going to be a ton of different answers out there. And while you're at it down below in the comment section, let me know what you guys think of all the new features that we're seeing on new Casio G-Shock and standard Casio models. The Bluetooth connectivity, the fitness tracking features, are these things that you like? Do you want Casios to move more towards the smartwatch side of things, or would you prefer that they stay sort of isolated in their own space? Let me know what you guys think. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you can give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.